Welcome to Coffee Connect, everyone. Listen, we've got some new folks here. We've got a new speaker too today that I'm excited about, and the topic is something that we often visit because our minds are a big part of us, right? So listen, if you enjoy the conversation today, you want to kind of continue to see the invites come out and understand what the topics are going to be for the coming weeks, do me a favor, email me at ccinfo@addictedtoconnecting.com. I'll get you tied into the email invites, right? If you want to check out some of the past episodes that we've have done over the last month or so, or over the last year, really, go to www.addictedtoconnecting.com and you can follow back up with the YouTube channel and research all the way back, I think, to 2023 right now. We've got episodes on there. So feel free to do that. I'm Rodney, guys. I'm the host here at Coffee Connect. We've been doing this for 5 years. We're on our 13th episode of 5 years. And I don't think any one episode, or any two episodes, I should say, are the same. And today is going to be just that, even though we've got kind of two people contributing to the conversations, right? And Marite was let me know that, hey, by the way, I'm not a coach. And I said, I corrected that. I just didn't tell her that I corrected it, right? She's been with us for a couple years, though, and I really appreciate her contribution and her friendship. Had a chance to meet her in person when I was up in Cleveland, I think about a year ago or something like that. We were all out for lunch and stuff. But listen, she's a green living person. She wants to make our world a better place, our environment a better place, right? And she brought to us today's coach and leader of the conversation. So I'm not going to introduce our speaker, but I do want to introduce the wonderful Marite Ball.
Thank you so much, and I'll be very brief because I really want everyone to get as much time with Melissa. Basically, I met Melissa because I joined her organization, the Changemaker Collab. Since I care about climate solutions, mindset is so important, and bringing people together is so important. And so she equipped me and our group with tools, and the PQ system is one of them. So here's Melissa.
Okay, hello. Well, hello, everyone. Really nice to be here today. We are going to really move quickly through this session because I'm taking what's often a 2-hour workshop, and I'm going to try to get you the meat of it, the most interactive parts of it between now and about, what I think, try to turn it back over around 10:50, I think. Is that okay?
10:55 is good.
10:55. All right, cool. So if you haven't taken the Saboteur assessment yet, go ahead and try to take it. I know also one person said she did not get the results. And look for the email from Shirzad C at positiveintelligence.com. And you can also just retake it. Usually if that happens, you type your email wrong, or else it's in spam or trash. But hopefully, even if you don't get it done, you'll have enough information to make some good guesses of which breakouts you want to go to, and you'll still get value. Okay, so I am going to, I guess I'll just introduce myself very quickly. Come from 28 years in the corporate space. Saint-Gobain. Sorry, Saint-Gobain is one of my big clients that I work with. Schneider. It's almost like I worked with them since 2014. Schneider Electric, most recently as VP of Green Buildings and Smart Cities. And then before that, IBM for 18, and Anderson Consulting is where I started. So lots of time on the line of business side of things, and realize that if we don't enable people to work better together, then all of the big innovation that we want in the world, it doesn't happen at the pace and change that we want to. So I shifted into this space a bit more, and I work with leaders and teams. So enough said about me. I'm going to share my screen and get us moving. Let's see here. Come on, Google Chrome. All right, here we go. It's open. Why has it say I'm signed out? All right. I don't understand that at all. It didn't like something. Oh gosh, I'm thinking, okay. Hold on, it's coming. All right, here we go. All right, and if you want to connect with me, you'll have a chance to do that at the end, but this little whatever it's called takes you to my link tree, and you can see how to interact with me or connect with me there. So it's all about mental fitness today. And before we get started into this topic, I just actually would like for us all to take a deep breath and feel both feet on the ground. I'm doing this for me as much as you because I want to bring my sage in and not the part of me that was just, sort of a little bit triggered by the fact that my system signed me out. So let's feel both feet on the ground and shoulders over our hips, and take a deep breath in and out. And do another one of those. And you can close your eyes if you want to, but you don't have to. And it's really important that you know that, because you can do this in a meeting when somebody triggers you or something triggers you. You can take that deep breath and nobody knows. You can look around at the people on your screen and see what color shirt they're wearing or whether they've got glasses on. And suddenly the brain that was triggered and putting you towards your fight, flight, freeze, reactive brain can recenter in your body and in your cognitive brain. And that's a lot about what mental fitness is enabling for us. It's helping us to understand how to do that quicker, how to return to our grounded, clear, focused center quicker, so that no matter what's coming at us, we can be in our I'll call it our sage brain. I was going to say our right brain, but and that's sort of true, but in our sage brain. So that's what we're about today. And what you're going to get is some techniques. You'll take away some techniques that you can use immediately. So there is practical application here. Yeah, so let's keep going. So what I want to do now is get you stressed out. So I want you to think about what is something that's happening in your world today that is really a big challenge or stressor for you. It's creating some tension, and it may be something you're very excited about, but it feels like a bit of a mountain to climb. So it might be a mountain of your choice that you're challenging yourself to go do because you want to, or it might be something that got thrown in your path suddenly out of left field. Doesn't matter. And I'd like you to just think about both your personal life and your business life. And for the next exercise, which I encourage you to pull out paper, pen, or pencil, your favorite writing utensil, and do just a little bit of journaling on this. So 2 to 3 minutes. And what is the current system where a situation where you feel challenged or even triggered, and you wonder if you have the capacity to handle it? Have you built the muscle? Have you built the skill to handle this thing? It doesn't mean you're worried necessarily, but you're moving into your stretch space, slightly out of your comfort zone. So think about that. And just document that real quickly so you know what it is. And then what are your feelings and thoughts about this? Could be that you're excited. Could be that you're a little bit afraid of failure, or afraid that, you don't have the support that you need, or whatever feelings that you're having and thoughts that you're having about this mountain, this situation. And then what impact is this situation or opportunity having on you and the others around you? What's the impact of this situation? And also your state of mind about it, your feelings and thoughts that you're having about it. What's the impact on others? And on you. Maybe you've taken on a new challenge and it's causing you to sleep less. Maybe you're feeling for the next 3 months, you're going to be overwhelmed because you're not able to balance all the things you need to do. Could be, whatever. Maybe it's causing a cash crunch. What's the impact? Maybe, you're starting to notice some strains in your physical, mental, or emotional well-being. Maybe it's affecting your relationships in some way, like it's putting stress on 1 or 2 relationships. Maybe it's affecting your performance at work or your productivity. And now that you have a feeling for these things, you haven't got it all necessarily written perfectly, but you're in the space of it. We are going to go. Oh yeah, forgot my 4th question. What skills or capacities might you need in order to rise to the occasion? Because if you're outside of your comfort zone, if you're stretching, if this is a mountain that you haven't climbed before, you might need some new skills or capacities. And now we're going to go into breakouts, and the instructions are basically that you're going to share your situation. We're going to go into breakouts of 2 people, ideally. And 4 minutes each way, 3 minutes explaining, and then allow the second person at that point, you're listening. The second person is listening at first, right? And then you're going to acknowledge in some way that you've heard them. You're going to make them feel seen, understood, valued, and appreciated. You're not going to work on problem solving with them, right? Just going to, let them know you've heard them. And then you're going to switch directions. So you'll share your mountain, right? And any insights you have from your journaling. And basically it's a reminder. These are the questions that you could share during that breakout. You can share about, okay? So I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to go ahead and put these questions in the chat so you've got them when you're in breakouts.
Perfect. I've got 10, 20 guys.
Absolutely. Welcome back, everybody. So just love to hear from 1 or 2 people quickly. How was that? Or you want to do it, thumbs up if it was good. Yeah. All right. Do you feel seen and heard?
I think that's part of it, right? It's just saying it out loud, the things that concern you, right? And go, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to definitely give context. So because
I'm gonna have to pick on her a little bit. Deb wasn't seen because she doesn't have a camera on her device.
Oh, got it.
But she was definitely heard.
All right. That's great. That's great. So whenever we embark on any kind of mission, when we set off to climb a mountain, something that's outside of our comfort zone, whether we chose it or not, we have to have a good enough reason. And so one of the reasons that I have you think about what's a current challenge, and if you're going to embark on a journey of mental fitness, you got to have a good reason. So hopefully these are good enough reasons, at least to stick through the next, half hour. So let's quickly, I want to set up the next part of the discussion. We are going to move quickly. There will be other opportunities. I occasionally do free sessions and other opportunities to go deeper. But let me share my screen and take you through the basics of this mental fitness, and know that some of you have told me you've already read Shirzad's book, so that's great too. But we're gonna move along. So I'm gonna give you what is mental fitness. Mental fitness is really simple. The idea is that it's our capacity to respond to life's challenges with a positive rather than a negative mindset. And I talked about this at the beginning. What I mean by positive is not false positivity. It's from a grounded, centered, clear, and focused mindset. Okay. Versus an a triggered, fight, flight, freeze, defensive, reactive mindset. Okay. So we literally have two different ways of showing up, and we get to choose. And so we're going to take you through the work that Shirzad Chamine has pioneered that helps you get much more clear on how do you do that. It is based on research, neuroscience, cognitive psychology, positive psychology, and performance science, human performance science. So a lot of work was done to identify, and this was really, to be honest, Shirzad's search for why his mind was the way it was, and why was he feeling so triggered by things, and why was, he was learning about himself, but he's like, how do I change the way I am? I know that I've got issues in terms of the way I show up in the world. How do I make sense of this, and how do I put myself in a more positive, creative mindset? So the research was both practical and academic, and he worked with a lot of executives and their teams, but also Stanford students, athletes, and he has road tested this kind of all over the world. So this is a good book. I like the audio version. You know what you like. The research was to identify the root causes of poor mental fitness, if you want to, or of positive mental fitness. What do in order to be in a more positive, proactive mindset? And so he identified at the root of all of our reactivity, there are three muscles that we need in order to shift back into this clear, grounded center. One is the saboteur interceptor. So we have to actually realize that we're triggered. Okay. We have to realize we're not in a clear, grounded, centered, focused mindset. The sage muscle, which is basically moving into a place, into that state of mind. And with that sage muscle, there are some specific powers that become available to us. That is also part of this training. Some things that we can do now that we're clear, calm, and centered, because the situation that triggered us is still right there. So we need a way and tools to deal with it. So that's the sage muscle. And then self-command. Self-command is really key. And it's all about, I know I'm triggered, and I am going to command my mind and my old pattern to shift. I'm going to move it. And so this is where this idea of PQ reps comes in, positive intelligence quotient. The breath, the breathing that I had you do to recenter. That is, you could have chosen not to. You could have said, and maybe some of you did, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that breathing crap. I don't need that, right? We have the ability to choose. And when we choose, we can actually shift. So what are these, being of two minds, what are these two different parts of our brain? Sage, and so I just talked about this, there are 5 sage powers and a sage mindset. There are 10 saboteurs, including the judge, and the 9 that you've self-assessed on, okay? Yeah, so what's going on here? We are actually operating, when we're in sage, we are actually operating and using different parts of our neurological system. And so literally on an MRI, you could see different parts of your brain lighting up depending on which of these 2 modes that you're in. If you're triggered, reactive, saboteur mode, then you're going to see the brainstem, the limbic system, and parts of the left brain all lit up. But if you're recentered, dealing with the same crap, but from a different calm, centered, focused place, other parts of your brain will be lit up. Prefrontal cortex, your empathy circuitry will be activated in parts of the right brain. So pretty cool, right? Yeah, to know this. It's great for athletes. It's great for any kind of leader. It's great for humans. It's great for parents. So what's the difference? Like, why bother, right? Saboteur brain, we're in oftentimes, we're in this sort of highly vigilant, or any of the 9 different saboteur spaces, and they've served us pretty well so far. I mean, you might think that. And you might have gotten some success from living out of this reactive brain. But in Sage Brain, you can actually sustain more happiness and actually better physical, emotional, and mental health, better relationships, as well as more productivity and better outcomes. And they have some statistics that are really amazing. And I've also experienced this in the teams I've worked with in the last year. It's kind of crazy, the difference that in this case, we do a 6-week boot camp or an 8-week boot camp can make. So, yeah, so we're going to do a little bit of an overview of the 9 saboteurs quickly. And I'm going to ask that, that you, either Marie-Tay, I don't know, or Rodney, if you can put their worksheet in the chat for download, that would be great. Or just take some notes. And so as you're going through each saboteur, think about how well do I identify, with this type, and or how well do I, how does it resonate with me, and how do I deal with people or that come at me with this kind of energy? So the first is the judge. We all have the judge. There are 3 modes of judging. The first is we judge ourselves. So that a lot of people know this is our inner critic, the voice in our head that says, oh my God, you shouldn't have done that, right? Why did you do that? And your voice will be different than my voice, but everybody knows about these voices in our heads, right? We also judge others. We're human judgers. We look out at the world and we say, oh, it's a nice day. Or, oh, I don't like the color of the shirt that she's wearing. That's so like 80s, right? We judge others all the time. And the third is we judge events and circumstances. Yeah, like judging the weather is actually a circumstance. Judging, the current state of our political system, judging whatever it is, right? We do judge circumstances all the time. How somebody handles themselves, what the school board is up to, what the leadership team, the new strategic planning methodology, we judge all the time. You're judging whether this is a valid method for you, whether it's, yeah, I'm sure you are, right? So, the 9 saboteurs are here. They are the accomplices of the judge. So the judge usually is the first one to show up because it's just so instant. We're trying to make sense of our world, and we're trying to figure out, is it safe? Is it right? Is it wrong? And then our deeper neural pathways that have helped us in our early childhood to adapt to our world will also kick in. And there are 9 of them based on the research that's been done. And you've hopefully identified your top 3 or 4 and at least found 1 or 2 of those that you resonate with, right? So I'm not going to cover them in depth. I'm going to actually ask us to break out into groups and talk about with each other about the one that I want you to just pause for a minute and think. The one saboteur that you want to work on that is showing up in relationship to the challenge or the mountain that you identified at the beginning of this call and that you talked about in the breakout. So pick one that is having its way with you, that's causing you some problems, and we are going to go into breakout rooms. I will quickly scroll through each of them. The avoider avoids difficult tasks, focuses on the positive all the time, but because they don't like conflict, right? So they avoid. Controller really doesn't like anything to be out of control, and when it's out of control, they step in. Lots of anxiety and impatience. The hyperachiever really has to always be winning, always be doing their best, achieving, And it's a way of really validating their value as a human. And it can result in all kinds of workaholic tendencies. And also just, I don't have time for feelings. I've got things to do. So that's the hyperachiever in a nutshell. The hyper rational, very much focus on rational processing, the pros and the cons, going deeper into the data. Is what do I believe? I need to understand it first before I can have an opinion that's that I can stand up for. So can be perceived as cold or intellectually arrogant or distant because they're in the background processing and they haven't decided yet. Very neutral in some ways. Hypervigilant, lots of anxiety, always worried about the next shoe that could drop, what could go wrong, kind of a Chicken Little syndrome, if you will. Vigilance that can never rest. Very tough for people that have a strong hypervigilant, very, very, very tough. The worrier. So the pleaser, on the other hand, is wanting to make sure that they're liked. Everybody likes me. So they're always they're anticipating everybody else's needs. They're trying to do the right thing because they think they underneath the covers, they know that if they feel that if they're not doing what other people need, that they won't be accepted. So they can lose sight of their own needs and become resentful of, why wouldn't everybody, why isn't anybody anticipating my needs? Why isn't anybody helping me? And then the restless, always looking for the next thing. This is one of mine. Great, what's the more exciting thing that I could be doing? And so constantly busy and rarely at peace or content with the current activity. That's not true for me. I love being here right now. But I have to train myself to be here instead of in my next call. Stickler, high bar, high standards, a need to make things as perfect and as right as they possibly can be, and in organizations, specifically in the things that matter, that they believe matter, should be organized. And victims, victims are emotional and temperamental. They're very aware of their own feelings and how everything's impacting them. And so enough said, hopefully. So we're going to do a breakout here. I'm looking at the time. We've only got minutes. So I just really want you guys, 10 minutes, I think, right? Like 8 minutes, let's say. So what you're going to be doing and create the poster and present the poster back. But what I will have you do is talk about the emotions of the saboteur, the lies it tells you and the promises it makes to you, what triggers it, and some impact that it's having in your life. So let's go ahead and get into some breakouts and talk about your saboteurs. I don't know how you've set that up.
So I don't know what everybody is, but we're just going to say number one is avoider. Room number one is avoider. I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to pick the room they want to go to.
Perfect.
Right. So number one is avoider. Number two is controller. Number three is hyperachiever. Number four is hyper rational. Number five is hyper vigilant. Number six is pleaser. Number seven is restless. Number 8 is stickler. And number 9 is victim.
Okay. Terrific.
So you can pick which breakout you want to go to. If you click on the, don't go to those breakouts right there that I just sent you to. You should be able to choose which one you want to go to. I mean, I shuffled them up, but go to the one that you want to go to. Let me know if you need to know which ones they are. Hang out here. I'll hang out here in the main room until everybody's. On that same note, Rita, like the best word we all can learn, right, is grace. Have it for us, have it for others, right? I mean, grace is huge.
Right. Just reminding yourself that it's okay that you're not on all the time. It's okay to have a little time outside. It's okay to breathe. I chose a little bit slower morning because I decided I am deserving of a little bit of peace. And I think once you decide that and you own your schedule, you can, make that time to center yourself a little bit.
Melissa, it's all yours still.
Sorry.
You're muted. You're muted.
Melissa, you're muted.
You're supposed to be reading your lips, Joe, okay?
Okay.
I don't read that
Alright,
fast.
great. No, that's the, I'm sorry about that. So listen, folks, really short. If you're interested to know more, go to the positiveintelligence.com website. I think we're going to send a follow-up, Rodney, to the folks that were here with some resources that, that you can use, some links, including a link. I'm offering a one-on-one saboteur debrief for free. So that you can actually, if you want to go more deeply into your saboteur assessment, understand it a bit better and what you can do, feel free to reach out to schedule a scheduler. So you'll just put yourself in my calendar sometime in the future. And yeah, stay in touch. I do run programs, 6-week programs to help people with this. Marite's been through it, so.
Awesome. Hey, give it up for Melissa Omar, please. Guys, this was incredible, right? I mean, I had some great conversations in our breakout room, and appreciate everyone taking the time to just kind of share their stories, their struggles, and the things that's going on inside our heads today, right? Because it is our ability to control those thoughts, right? It allows us to take action on our goals and our dreams and the things that we want to achieve. So, on that note, right, next week, only half of the duo is here. Rita, you wanna share anything about next week before we?
So I had this moment and I chatted with Lamar about it. Many of you know Lamar and how wonderful he is, and you know some of his story. I'm an interior designer. I've only been on that path in life, and I was chatting with Lamar, and I said, well, we have so many wonderful veterans and people who have worked in government roles, and people who have served our country, and people who have volunteered in ways that have supported our country. Let's get together the week of July 4th during this presentation. I want everybody to share with me their experiences and their stories. I have never done that. I have had both grandfathers, my father and my oldest brother who have served, and my uncle who's a Marine, 3 tours of Vietnam. But the thing is that as a woman, their stories have not passed to me. I only have 1 or 2, and it's purely because, and I have one that's going to be a great fun story. I'm going to keep it to next week, but it's only because we found paperwork that was shoved in with some photos. And many times those stories don't get shared in a mixed group like this. They get shared only with other veterans. And I would like to highlight the stories of those who have served and sacrificed and shared in it doesn't have to be funny. It can be serious, something that profoundly impacted you as a professional or something that changed your life. I would like to hear those stories, and I presented that to Lamar, and we all know Lamar to go, yes, yes, yes. So I would like to hear some stories of, those of you who, even if it's not a super fun, happy story, but something that just was very impactful to you, because I would like to understand more of that experience of those who, have been in the military of all branches, or those who have sacrificed in some way for our country. And I think July 4th is a great week to do that.
Perfect. Thanks, Rita. So that's going to be put on by Lamar. And Rita, next week, guys, is going to be a great conversation. I'm sure we are going to have some awesome stories to share. Before we duck out of here, we got some new folks. And for everybody, right, we had set out to have a goal of 100 new folks tie into us between March 31st, which is our anniversary date of this year, and March 31st of next year. The thermometer, although I'm not sharing it, currently states 25. And from what I'm seeing, I mean, I'm going to count Melissa because this is her first time here. Terry, first time here. John, first time here, I believe. Jason, first time here. Cass, first time here. Anybody that I'm missing? First time here.
My first time.
Oh, and Scott, thank you so much, Scott. I was like, I thought there was another one. I wrote 5 names down here. So appreciate everybody joining us. And typically, if we had time, I would have you guys just introduce yourselves. I would encourage you guys all to come back next week, right? So we can find some time that you get to introduce yourself to the entire group. We would love to hear your story on what you're trying to accomplish and how we might be able to help you.